Hi, so I see Jasmine and Emily. My name's Tania, and I'm the nurse advisor for St. Martin's, and I also do all the admissions for nursing. So I thought it might be helpful to just give you a brief overview of what it's like to apply to a nursing program. And it's not just for St. Martin's. Nursing is super competitive, so I want to give you as much information as you can so you have as much information as possible. And I will say to start with, I'm sure my employers love this, but apply to as many nursing schools as possible if nursing is what you want to do. So don't feel like you're stuck with one school. Apply and see what sticks. So I would say if you can, take a look, Google, just say nursing outcomes, nursing possibilities, and look at the different career options. There are a lot of things you can do with nursing. There's ER nursing, there's in-clinic nursing, there's public health nursing, there's school nurses. And guess what? They're all hiring. Our graduating class everybody has a job pending completion of the NCLEX. So definitely you will get a job if you complete this nursing degree. Talk to your school counselor, the earlier the better. And then also look at prereqs. I'm going to go through prereqs for you. There's a certain set of prereqs you need for most nursing schools. You can do them in college while you're there, or if you're going to do Running Start or any dual credit, you can do them. But these ones are super important, what all nursing schools look for. Okay, so the other thing I'll say is find a way to stand out. Don't skip the essay. I know a lot of places say you can skip an essay when applying to college. It makes it so much more competitive. We got 294 applications, so being an essay is really helpful for us. It gives us a bigger picture. So maybe your grade for something wasn't that great. Explain it to us. Explain anything to us. Let us see you as a real person instead of just numbers on your GPA or the classes you took. It's so helpful. And I used to be an admissions counselor, so it's just ingrained in me. Don't skip the essay. I know it's a thing. Nobody wants to write another essay, but please don't skip the essay. The thing is, if something happened in a class, we understand you're human, and a lot of places do holistic admissions. Explain it to us. If we see a bad grade and you don't tell us why, it's really hard for us not to have that, not to know what happened, and just if you're not going to explain it to us, we don't know. So take some time, explain it to us. Every single college application has a thing. Is there anything you want to add? Add that, explain it to us. The other thing is math and science is key for nursing. So really focus on those classes. If you were having issues in those classes, try to see if you can talk to somebody, explain those classes, explain how it's going to be better at a 4-year, what you can do or resources you want us to help you find for math and science classes. It doesn't mean if you're bad in a class, you're out, but we want some understanding and awareness on your end that you get the importance of math and science. And that's particularly important, especially for our nurses now. So go and you're like, well, I don't like math. That's fine until you have to be a nurse who has to do dosage calculations. Let's say you're a nurse at a children's hospital and you get a dose calculation based on a 150-pound male, right? That's not going to work for your 6-month-old. So you have to be able to do those dosage calculations, which is why we stress math so much. Most places, St. Martin's is small, have lots of tutoring and lots of resources, but I just want to stress to you guys the importance of math and science. And also, Emily, I see you in there. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me at any time. Okay, so when you're going to, do you have a question? Oh, no, okay. When you are applying to school, make sure you complete the school application. Most places have a waiver. Do not hesitate to get a waiver. Application fees are $50 to $75 per college, but most places, if you ask for the waiver, will give it to you. We're not trying to make that impediment to going to school. So if you see that and the first thing you see, don't stress about that at all. Make sure you send official transcripts. Unofficials, I know you guys can access them on Skyward and things like that, but we really need official transcripts. If you have any college credits, sometimes it will say them on your high school transcript if you're doing Running Start. But the thing is that it's really nice and really helpful for people like me who have to read 200 and something applications to be able to see those separate college transcripts. Letter of recommendation. Who you ask for a letter of recommendation is helpful. It does not necessarily have to be a teacher or somebody you work with. Somebody who just knows you, who you are as a person, who can vouch for your character, are sometimes some of the best letters we get. And it's better to get those letters that actually tell us about you as opposed to, oh, this student was in my class and they did pretty good. which is helpful. I'm really glad you did well in your class, but it doesn't help me see you as a person. Again, essay. I will stress the essay the whole time. Test scores, if they're required, most places are moving away from them, which I'm really glad about because test scores are sort of really not helpful at all, actually, in determining how you will be as a student. In case they require test scores, send them in. Know that most places, and I talked to admissions counselors from all over the country, don't really look at your test scores, to be honest. And then meet with the admissions counselor. It's a lot harder, and I guess it's human nature for us to just flat no to somebody if we met them, if we have a relationship with them. If we know you, if we're invested in you, you have a better chance of getting in. And I think that's just because when you know people, you can help them. If you've never met them, you've never seen a name, and you look at their application with them and somebody else, it's a little bit easier to say, oh, well, maybe this person, doesn't know. But if we know you and we have a relationship with you, it just helps your case. And I talk really fast, so I apologize. It's just how I am. Okay, so if you learned anything else from this today, and you want to do nursing at all, these are the classes that almost every single college requires. So you take these once you are in college. You take these if you're doing Running Start. But these are the classes that you will need before you can start any nursing program, pretty much anywhere in the state of Washington, but pretty much anywhere. So at the community colleges, this is the generic one. I didn't put the numbers down, but I memorized those if you want the community college ones. Human biology, ANP1 and NP2. There's a couple community colleges that offer an ANP, and then they offer a anatomy, and then they offer physiology as the second part. We need ANP1 and 2, so make sure you do both of those. Microbiology, chemistry, college level algebra, super important. Statistics, nutrition, general psychology, and lifespan development. So those are things that I would recommend just keeping in the back of your head, even if you have no college credits, you go to no college credits in high school and you start fresh, that's totally fine. I actually really like those students. It gives them a little bit of chance to get to know college before they jump into nursing. But keep these in mind, and you want to start them as soon as you can so that you can be on track to start your nursing program later. So these are the classes these are the ones I look for in transcripts. These are the ones I go through every single time I do an admissions cycle. Okay, so college. It's not free, unfortunately. I wish it was. I wish we had a better system. But do the FAFSA, the Free Application Federal Student Aid. And that is one of the best ways. We can give you a lot of funding on that. Washington is really good about a couple extra fund sources that other states don't have. It's a lot harder to give you your financial aid without a FAFSA. If there's an undocumented situation or a situation where you can't file a FAFSA, we have the WAFA. And that's the Washington State version of the FAFSA. And that still enables you to get financial aid. There's also two big scholarship areas that I wanted you to check out. Washboard is really for Washington State scholarships, and they're a great resource, a little area where there's a whole bunch of scholarships. FastWeb is also like a national one. It's a little bit more corporate. What I recommend usually is just setting up an email solely for scholarships, as FastWeb will send you a whole bunch of emails. Some of them are great. Some of them are a little bit advertisements. So that I always say, just set it up, and that can be part of your scholarship email. So you can make sure you're getting all the information you need instead of being bombarded in your main email box with a whole bunch of them. Then specifically for nursing, there's actually a lot of scholarships. So these, you can either send you a list if you want to. These are ones that we actually have on our St. Martin's website, but specifically for people who are interested in nursing. What I really like, I think we've done a really good job of making nursing school really affordable at St. Martin's. I'm actually shocked by how affordable it is for most of our students. There's a lot of scholarships. So most places require you to have a BSN or require you to get your BSN within 3 years of hire. So let's say you go to community college, which is great, and you get your RN degree, and you take your NCLEX, which is the exam you have to take to be a nurse, and then you get hired as a nurse with your RN, your 2-year associate's degree. Usually most places are going to require within 3 years that you have completed or at least started a bachelor's of science of nursing. Because of that, most places like Providence is the biggest one, Swedish has their own fund, they're giving generous scholarships to help you get that BSN. So just keep that in mind that there's lots of scholarships for nurses. We have a nursing shortage, so we're trying really hard to get as many people through nursing as we can. And because of that, there's a lot of scholarships. All right, so things to remember. To be successful in our nursing program and really any programs, you have to be up to date on your vaccines, all of them, not just COVID. There's really no exemption. And I know that's kind of a controversial topic, but we are obligated legally, if we're going to send out to do clinicals, we have to have you vaccinated, and that's a state requirement. So really just keep that in mind. The ones you use for school to get into school, most of them you somewhere along the line, you'll have an example of what you got for childhood vaccines, and then need your COVID vaccine in addition. Most places will not let you start nursing programs without your vaccines, which I think is fair. And then the other thing is, being on time is crucial. Sometimes being on time is hard, and we get it, and sometimes things happen, but nursing programs are very, very strict on being on time. And if you think about it, it's not just for you to learn a life lesson, but it's also, you're working the ER and the person who's working that shift, and let's say you got the day shift, you got the day shift. You come in and you're 15 minutes late and they can't leave, and they share their charts with you and they've done all their stuff. So maybe that's pushing them back a full hour. So that's just something to think about. So we're very, very strict on that, and most of the other schools are as well. The other thing is, to be successful in nursing, it's kind of you're representing your college or university at a hospital or clinic setting. So we just try to keep that in mind. And then be prepared. I mean, come to class and come to clinicals and prepared and do your homework. It's just, nursing school is a lot of work, but we're preparing you to save lives. And you're going to save lives, and you get it. Like, my students just came back and they are doing OB right now, and they're like, I saw a live birth. Like, it's life-changing, right? So we want you to be prepared, like, their actual lives. This isn't, not a history degree, so I can say this. It's not just a history where you're writing. It's actually going out and saving life in a day. Not that being history doesn't have long-term benefits, but short-term, I think that that's something to remember. And the other thing is, with that, communicate with your high school counselors right now. Communicate with your college admissions counselors. And then once you're in the program, communicate with people like me, the nursing advisors, and then communicate with your professors, and finally your clinical instructors. And I think that's good to set up, because they happen I-5, let's say something other than I-5, and you can't make your clinical. We get that, but we would prefer to know that when it happens rather than you just not showing up. And then that was just my quick little presentation, dinosaurs. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions about it. I'm more than happy to help. I love helping students get into programs. And like I said at the beginning, nursing competitive, apply to as many programs as can. I have no problem helping you. I've helped students before. I helped students get into Montana State. I had family in Montana, and I was like, all right, let's do this. So nursing is so important, and there's so few spots right now that anywhere you can go, and if you need help, I'm more than happy to help. If you come to St. Martin's, that's great too. So I think that's basically my short little things on how to get into nursing school. Do you have any questions?
Emily, did you have any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, I have a question, if I may. You know, as a prospective student interested in this nursing career, there's a lot to kind of juggle: grades, extracurriculars, tests, and, you know, and I was curious, like, how can one best manage all these items? You know, should they be prioritizing self-care, or should they be reaching out to mentors? Like, what have you seen successful students do to kind of get accepted into these programs?
Yeah, I think reaching out is key. I think that sometimes people feel like they're doing this all alone, or they have to do this all alone, and helping is great. And reaching out if you're struggling, I would reaching out to mentors. I would say if you're struggling in a math or a science class, reach out to professors. Reaching out to anybody on campus that can help you with that is going to be probably key to it. And also, I love my nursing students, but they've had to try so hard to get into the program that they're very stuck on these grades, which is why I like to emphasize holistic admissions. We really want you to be able to do the science, we want you to be able to do the math. So if you're having issues, we're going to have to go through that, but we want to know about you. So if you're I'd say it's kind of a tough line because you really want to help yourself get the best grades you can, but also don't do it at the detriment to your mental health. If for some reason, if that A minus or that B plus is, between the A minus and the B plus, take the B plus if it's going to not have you a breakdown, because life is hard. Nursing school is hard. And the other thing is I recommend counseling to about 95% of my students. And frankly, I think all of us should probably do it. Nursing is hard. Right now it's hard. This isn't normal. I always find we still have a mask requirement. So at our school, every single person has to wear a mask. And I tell people, like, this is unprecedented times, right? So just reach out for any support that you can. But I would say the big issue is in terms of how to get in is make sure that you're reaching out to anybody with science or math issues, and also explaining things in your essay. Don't feel like, oh, I messed up. Maybe I didn't do well sophomore year in one class. Like, is this going to affect me? Take some time, write it in your essay, explain it to us with your counselor. Let us know who you are as a person, and you're just not that bad semester sophomore year.
Thank you, Tania. And as a student does their best to, obtain these grades and explain their life story through their essay, now they're at the point of applying to all these schools. And I'm curious as to what schools they should apply to. You were talking to as many schools as you can. And also, does the school you go to really matter as a nursing student?
Yes, no. I would say, so there's a whole bunch of schools on I-5. If you look into I-5 corridor, Seattle University has a nursing school. Seattle Pacific University has a nursing school. UW has a nursing school. Wazoo has a nursing school, but it's in Pullman, so a little bit of a drive. Gonzaga has a nursing school. PLU has a nursing school. St. Martin's has a nursing school. UW Tacoma right now has an RN to BSN, but they are hopefully, fingers crossed, going to have a full BSN program in about 2 years. And then University of Portland has a nursing school. And honestly, and this is what my director says, apply to all of them. If you're up and down I-5, apply to all of them. And then I would say what I think, I work here, so I guess I have to say this. What I think is really nice about St. Martin's, we do something called direct admit. So if you're admitted to our nursing program, you're in our nursing program. Some other schools have kind of a 2-tier system where you get in and then you have to take your classes, those pre classes that I was showing you. We're going to look through those. They're going to look through those after your second year there, and then you apply secondarily to the nursing school, which I think is really hard. I have a student who didn't get into Wazoo. She did 2 years at Washington State University, but then didn't pick to go to the nursing school. So that's a lot of stress, and it also doesn't really build culture of community. So you're fighting everybody. Oh, if this person does well in microbiology, are they going to take my spot? Whereas at St. Martin's, we don't do that. PLU doesn't do that. So if I had my choice, I would say I would apply to a school that does direct entry nursing, just because you sort of the community, you're in your prereqs together, you're taking your classes together, and then you're in the program together.
I see. So apply to as much as you can, but also recognize that some programs have a lot of benefits in terms of actually being able to kind of directly become a nurse without as much hurdles like some other programs.
And the other thing is a lot of schools have, I don't know if I want to say hidden money, but there are definitely, when you're in the nursing program, there's actually more funds that you are eligible for. So we just got the HRSA grant, and that's a $2 million grant. So a lot of our students, if they are eligible for it, get between $2,000 and $12,000 extra a year. That's on top of their financial aid. So, and because nursing is so hard, it's so in demand, there's a lot of programs sort of out there like that can help you.
Would you say there's experience that gives you a really big leg up from your other applicants? Like, let's say a certified nursing assistant or, a medical assistant. Do those clinical experiences look favorably upon applicants, or is that something to worry about once you're in nursing school?
Yes, if you can do a CNA, that's great. I would say the strongest ones are, so I had a student who's going to start, she's going to be a freshman this fall, and she just volunteered at Tacoma General, and she's been volunteering there for like 2 years. And one of her recommendations was one of the doctors that's gotten to know her. She doesn't have a CNA, but she's been volunteering on the floor. Some was a front desk receptionist, but then was working like shadowing the MA, and like the MA wrote a thing about how she was shadowing her to learn. So CNA, MA look great. If you don't want to invest that time or that money in those, MA is a little bit more in depth than CNA. Then just sort of giving yourself some sort of medical field really does help. Because I had students and they would be like, they had these grades, but they had never, I'm like, have they ever touched a patient room or anything like that? Then that definitely is helpful to have that.
Gotcha. So it sounds like if we can get you into the hospital and be by the patients, that is helpful. We have about 6 minutes left. Emily, did you have a question for Tania, or do you feel pretty confident that you are going to be a successful nursing student at St. Martin's, hopefully?
The second one. Thank you.
Sounds good.
And the other thing I was going to say, the other thing, anything health related. So like I had somebody who volunteered at the COVID clinics for administering shots. Obviously they were administering shots, but just being there and, with the lines of cars and going through any sort of service, so any sort of public health service, you can do anything like that. I have another student who we just admitted who helps run one of our clinics downtown for the unhoused populations. And so that looks, anything that's sort of in the realm of healthcare is really helpful for your application. And it doesn't have to be crazy hours. You don't have to be doing it 20 hours a week. You can be 5 hours a month, frankly, but show us some long-term commitment to 5 hours a month, and that's helpful.
Okay, so get that healthcare experience. Did you have any final thoughts for us, Tania, or do you feel like you were able to get everything there is to go into nursing school?
I would say that it's a little intimidating. I feel like I know when I say this sometimes that, I have these conversations and I can see, especially like parents, they're actually like, oh my God, this is going to be so much work. That's why I say don't limit yourself to a certain school. Apply to as many schools as you can. The other thing, Emily, that I'll say, this is long-term, but let's say for some reason it doesn't work out to get into nursing school, but you still have that drive. There's a lot of schools that do something called an accelerated bachelor's of science in nursing. So if you have a bachelor's in anything else, and you take these prereqs, so the ones that are on the screen right now, if you take those, you can apply to these programs, and usually it's 18 months, and you will have basically a second BSA or a second bachelor's degree, and then you can take the NCLEX and you're a certified BSN RN. So for some reason you get your bachelor's in something else, but that drive to be a nurse is still there. There is a lot of options, and those are actually a little bit easier to get into.
Okay, a lot of options and ways to go into nursing. Well, Tania, thank you so much for your time and presentation. And Emily, hopefully you were able to get a gem or two about how to get into nursing school. Don't forget, Emily, to take this survey B about your feedback for the session. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody involved and have a great rest of your day.